The Titans have started 0-3, falling 30-14 to the Green Bay Packers. We are going to recap that game now. This is the Music City Audible. Let's get to it. Oh, welcome everyone to another episode of the Music City Audible podcast. Yeah, I'm pretty down in the dumps. The Titans are 0-3. They look like a bad team, but we're going to recap the game anyway. This podcast presented by Broadway Sports Media and 440 Sports. I'm Justin Graver. With me, as always, Justin Melo. And Justin, where do we go from here?
It's a really bad football team, right? I just think it's pretty plain and simple, right? And if you're coming here for optimism, you probably shouldn't have any left after this one. You know, first though, I'll just hit you off. Why don't I just go right here? Why don't I hit you with three stats right off the bat that'll probably remove any optimism you might have had left. 0-3 for the first time since 2009. 2009, last time they started 0-3. That's how long it's been since they've started this poorly. The Green Bay Packers had 8 sacks here on Sunday. That's the most they've had in 2 decades. 2 decades since the Packers have had 8 sacks in one game. Titans spent the first round pick on a left tackle, paid a lot of money for the free agent center, gave up 8 sacks. Legendary O-line coach, yada, yada. 8 sacks on Sunday. Malik Willis and the Green Bay Packers, Malik Willis, I don't got to say it. You know who he is. Scored 30 points on the Titans. It's been more than 1,000 days since the Titans have scored 30 points in a football game. Malik Willis strolls into town after being the Titans' number 3 QB. Traded 27 days ago, I think they said it was. And he puts up 30 points on a team that hasn't put up 30 themselves in over 1,000 days. This is a really, really, really bad football team. I mean, I can go on and on. My brain's all over the place. I'll let you interject there, but I've got more negativity to spew.
Well, we appreciate everyone for tuning in. You're probably clicking out now if you're a Titans fan, but we implore you to stay. Stay. Come on, let's have some fun. Let's just soak in the misery together. Before we go any further, though, I will thank everyone for watching this on YouTube. Remind you to subscribe to the channel, give this video a thumbs up, and comment below. Record prediction for the Titans. Will they win a game? Let us know in the comments below. And also, this podcast is brought to you by Sinkers Beverages in East Nashville. More on Sinkers in a bit when we get to I'll drink to that, because we're still gonna drink to something, Justin, even if it's like drowning our sorrows away drinking. And then we'll hit silver linings before this podcast ends, and I do have a silver lining. So yeah, I just think it's crazy when you look at the box score. I mean, or just watch the game. Like Malik Willis, first of all, can we talk about Malik Willis? Like, he looked good. He looked like a good quarterback. Like, he was making the right reads. He didn't make any mistakes. He wasn't putting the ball in harm's way. He was pretty accurate when he threw the ball. He missed a few throws. He had also a couple drops in there. Converted on third downs, was making stuff happen out of structure with his legs. Like, who was this guy? Because I didn't recognize him.
That's outstanding by Matt LaFleur. Just tip of the cap. I think he missed some throws that made you realize that he still is what he is in terms of like inaccuracy and stuff. But he made some outstanding throws. He threw with timing, anticipation. He went through his progressions. He gave his Christian Watson. I mean, people were saying it's a great catch. Don't give Malik credit. He sees his 6'3" receiver got a 5'10"
it was a perfect throw.
Whatever the heck Roger McCreary is.
And it was a perfect throw. Like, yeah, it was a great catch, but the ball placement was perfect. Like,
yeah, and then they couldn't tackle him. I mean, note the difference. I said it in the group chat at one point where Will Levis ran on third down and they tackled him short of the sticks, the Packers defense. Did the Titans defense ever do that to Malik Willis? How many third downs did he convert with his legs? On one drive, he had at least 2. He had a ton of rushing yards in this game, career high rushing yards, career high passing yards. This is a quite the low for the Titans, in all honesty. You get downright embarrassed at home by a guy that they don't think is an NFL quarterback.
So I have 2 quick thoughts. Well, sorry, 1 quick thought, and then I want to get to Will Levis. The quick thought is this defense might have been propped up by 2 matchups that were very favorable to start the season here, because they didn't look very good in this game. I mean, you had to know somewhat what the game plan was going to be for the Packers, and it felt like they were just, I don't know, I felt like Denard Wilson did not come with a great game plan to force Malik Willis to beat you through the air, to like load the box and stop the run, but also, I mean, they kind of did, and Malik beat him through the air on the first play of the game for like a 40-yard pass or something, so I also kind of get it, but I don't know, I feel very out on the Titans right now. I'm just like out on all of it. I don't know. I feel like the defense played horrible. Like, the offense was not good in this game, and Will Levis made another crucial mistake and whatever. But the defense, I mean, they let the Packers drive up and down the field on them. And if it wasn't for a bunch of penalties on the Packers O-line, this score would have been even worse.
It was a bit of a tale of two halves. Now, I'm not really buying into this defense either. I don't think it's as good as we thought it was. First 2 weeks, we thought it was, yada, yada. But most of those points came in the first half, right? And look, and that's not no consolation.
About half. It's 17-13. It was like, it's pretty 50-50.
Fair, but then when did the pick six occur?
That was in the first quarter.
Oh, geez. Was it on the first? I felt like the eye test, the defense they tightened up in the second half, and they gave the offense a lot of chances to get back in this game. And the offense you had a bunch of, that's when I think they got 2 or 3 straight stops. And yeah, that's when they looked like they were driving to make it a 1-score game, and they had the fumble on the MPF screw up. Then the next drive, they had a ton of sacks, and that ended that. Like the defense gave them just enough chances for the offense to get back in this game, and they didn't.
I guess that is true, but I guess I was so disappointed by how they started the game, and then obviously the pick six adds to it in terms of like they gave up 23 points, but they gave up 30 points because of that.
Right.
I do want to talk about Will Levis because here's where I'm at, Justin. This is the third straight game that Will Levis has had a backbreaking turnover, a second pick six. He leads the NFL in turnovers with 8 already in 3 games. I mean, this is an untenable situation, and I know the offensive line is bad, and I know he's in a new offense. Like, what are we just making excuses? Are we just going to keep making excuses? Because he's terrible.
Say it every week.
He's terrible. Look, I'm sorry. I did the film breakdown. I had some hope, but 3 games in a row, the sample size is getting big enough to where I'm like, I don't know. It's time to bench him. I don't think they will bench him this week because you got a week 5 bye. So give him one more shot. But I think, like, if you want to save this season, if you want to have any hope at all to do anything this season, it's time to bench him. Like, it just is.
I do understand the argument that fans make out there saying you can't bench him. You got to see him for the whole year if he grows. I get that. I don't think they're going to do it. I do think they're going to bench him at some point, and I don't blame them because when we say all those things, you got to see him all 17 games. We're able to, I get that. He's a young guy, but it's easy to say that from the comfort of your couch and the comfort of employment, right? These guys at some point, I know they're in their first year. They've got a long leash because of how early it is, but they are going to worry about their jobs at some point. And they're going to say, just like Dave Canales worried about his job and benched Bryce Young after week 2, that's going to happen for Brian Callahan and Rand Carthon at some point, and they are going to put Mason Rudolph in this lineup. They are.
Yeah, and Will Levis, like, look, he had some nice throws today. He had some nice reads. He led some nice drives. But at the end of the day, you cannot make the crucial mistakes that he continues to make. He should not have ever thrown the pass that got picked. It was obvious that Jair Alexander, was that who? No, was it Jair?
It was Jair Alexander.
Was sitting on that route, no doubt about it. If not able to feel pressure,
He's staring down that read. And it's, by the way, I this might not be popular, but it's true. I like Brian Callahan's called plays well this year for the most part. I don't think this is a play calling issue, blah, blah, blah. That was a terrible play. Like from empty, 4 hitches, I want to say, from empty. It is an awful play. It shouldn't be in the play, and it shouldn't be in any NFL playbook.
I don't know about that. I mean, yeah, maybe so, but you also just can't make that throw. You just can't make that throw at all. It's another one of those.
I mean, he's staring it down the whole time. It's Alexander's clearly sitting on it.
It's not quite as boneheaded as like trying to lateral the ball to your running back on 3rd and goal, but it is as bad of a play, if not worse of a play, because not only do you take points off the board, you're giving a touchdown to the other team. And I want to talk really quick about the 4th and 2, where the Titans decided to go for it. I loved the call to go for it. I loved the aggression there because it's like, look, if you don't convert this, or if you punt the ball, you're probably like, we got to convert this drive and go get points to have a chance to be in this game at all. So I love the decision to do that. But then Will Levis's decision on the actual play to keep it and tuck it and run it was not a good decision. He did not have a lane. And I don't know. I mean, we don't have the all 22. They showed a replay where you could kind of see where the receivers were, and it looked like it would have maybe been a difficult throw. But if he had done what he did last week when he started scrambling and he did that little dump off to Josh Wiley, who picked up the 2nd and 11 play, he had Tony Pollard on a similar situation on the other side of the field where he could have like brought the defender up by threatening to run. And he kept the ball and tried to like jump over 2 guys, and he didn't even gain a yard. Like, it was a bad decision and a bad play in a bad game.
Yeah, I mean, they're just a bad football team, right? Like, I'm glad Mike Herndon, our buddy, tweeted some of the stuff that's been running through my mind because, you know, I think at some point, you know, it's not going to be popular, but I do think we're going to have the Mike Vrabel conversation at some point. Like, this team is I
Mike
get
Vrabel's
it,
team
but
was not good either. Like, you can't say because this team is also not good that they shouldn't have fired Mike Vrabel. Like, Mike Vrabel was also not good anymore. And whatever his thing was had worn thin. Like, I don't even want to go back to that conversation because I don't think it's valid, honestly.
I just think this team is on paper, it's so much better than what it was over the last 3 years. And yet they are so much worse. They are so much worse than the 2022 and 2023 Titans that were not good. This team is worse. It is. And they spent $300 million in the offseason, high draft pick. Like, this team is better than what Mike Vrabel had the last couple of years. That's my concern about that. That's my concern.
Yeah.
And I don't have a good enough read on this staff yet, but they're 0-3, right? Like, and there eventually may come a time for the Rand Carthon conversation. Like, look, you can say, I love the moves, but at the end of the day, we got to judge it by the product on the field. And the product on the field is really, really bad. It's really bad.
I agree. I think you're getting a little ahead of ourselves there. I mean, they are 0-3, but you look back at game one, and it's like, if Will Levis doesn't make some of the mistakes he makes,
I'm so done with that, Graver. I'm so past that.
No, what I'm talking about, it's on Will Levis. Because Will made a stupid decision in the moment. It's not because the team was poorly coached and they had a horrible game overall.
But I'm 3 weeks in. I haven't seen them create a turnover. I've seen them make special teams gaffes in every single game, right? Like, a lot of it is on Will Levis, but there's a lot of it to go around. They allowed 30 points today to Malik Willis. You talked about how horrible the defense was a few minutes ago. Don't forget that.
I agree with all that, but I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, they haven't been coached so badly, like an 0-3 coaching bad. Like, Will Levis has contributed massively, whereas if he wasn't making the critical mistakes he made, they might be 1-2 or 2-1, which is why I struggle to have the coaching conversation right now. I am absolutely down to have the Will Levis conversation, though. Like I said, I think it's time to bench him.
I just think at some point, like you said it earlier, I love when you said the sample size is getting big enough on him. It's getting big enough on the team, right? Like, none of us thought this was a Super Bowl winning team this year, but none of us, you are lying if you said you thought they were this bad. Nobody thought they were going to be this bad, and they are really, really bad. They are one of the worst teams in the NFL. Maybe that changes if they put in Mason Rudolph. I can see it changing. I said it, I think, a week or two ago. I will barely care because it gets them nowhere closer to achieving their goal. This organization is not going to win a Super Bowl with Mason Rudolph. Putting Mason Rudolph in the lineup and getting better is a loss for this organization, because all it means is you thought you had the guy, but you don't. So it's back to square one, square zero, whatever the hell you want to call it. And we're pretty confident that's where they're going to end up, right? Like, based on what we've seen from Will Levis through these 3 games. I mean, it's a bad, bad football team. And some of these conversations, they're only going to, like, right now, we still have the excuse of it's 0-3. We haven't seen enough. I do think we'll be having this conversation at 0-4. I think we'll be having this conversation at 1-6, 1-7, whatever it's going to be. This conversation and a lot of those excuses, a lot of those sample sizes, they're going to go away soon. I'm just willing to get on that train a little earlier.
Yeah, I guess I get what you're saying, but I want to see what Brian Callahan looks like as a head coach and what his staff looks like when his quarterback is not.
I'm not saying fire him now. I'm not even saying he deserves to go one and done. But I do think we have to at least, look, when you're 0-3 for the first time in 16 years for this franchise, and you spent $300 million in the offseason in a 7th overall left tackle, a $50 million center, a $92 million wide receiver, and you're 0-3, you're scoring 15 points a game, something along those lines. Like, yeah, like there's enough blame to go around to say, hey, is this team not well coached right now? Like, I don't know. Maybe they're not.
Yeah.
No one thinks their roster's bad enough to be 0-3, so something's got to give.
Yeah. I guess my only quibble with it was the Mike Vrabel point, because, like, I don't think Mike Vrabel was good either. Like, just because they're not good right now doesn't make Mike Vrabel better than he was in hindsight.
I think you're wrong, and I think you'll be proven wrong in the long run. I think Mike Vrabel is going to get another shot. I mean, there's no doubt. I think he's going to get another shot to be a head coach in this league, and I think he does better. And look, a lot of the concerns that he had, I'm not ready for all these conversations yet, but, Mike sent us a message in the group chat, and you saw it too, I'm pretty sure. Like, a lot of these things that, go back and read the why Mike Vrabel was fired articles, right, from Diana Rossini and everyone. A lot of the things that maybe he thought, opinions that he had, if this thing doesn't get better, it's going to get proven to be true, right? Like, again, the GM should be judged by the product that's on the field right now, right? Like, it's that simple.
Yeah. I'm ready to move on from this conversation, honestly. But let's hit. I'll drink to that. Brought to you by Sinkers Beverages. Cheers, Justin. Woohoo! I'm pouring it on my head. Here's what I'll drink to. I'll drink to the Titans are going to have a high draft pick because this is a bad team.
Oh, definitely.
Draft season's going to be fun, bud. We're going to get to do all the high profile. We're going to look at quarterbacks. We're going to look at everything. And it kind of sucks, but it's also like, hey, draft season will be fun. The season might not be fun, but draft season will be fun.
Can I hit you with some silver linings? Is it too early to move on to that?
Wait,
I can't believe I'm going to be the
Sinkers.
one.
Let me do the Sinkers thing, and then Sinkers Beverages brings you I'll Drink to That, the premier wine, spirits, and beer store in East Nashville, serving the community since 1985. Their knowledgeable staff is proud to help you with large parties, themed events, or finding something unique for a special occasion. From birthday parties to milestone celebrations to everyday moments, Sinkers can help with the right drink for every occasion. And if you head to the sinkersbeverages.com site or check the link in this podcast description, you can join the In-Crowd. In-Crowd members get access to allocated wines and spirits, exclusive events, early access to barrel releases, and more. Yes, Justin, you can do silver linings.
It's got to be the cheesiest effect on this show, but I will give you, I can't believe I'm doing this, but I'm as frustrated as anyone, as you can tell, but in this ball game that ended up being 30-14, I can't believe that you've got, we're playing this game again, the what if game, but you've got the pick six. It's unbelievable, right? It's terrible. There's no excuse for it, but you got that. And then you got the holding penalty on Jeffrey Simmons on a 48-yard missed field goal. I'm so down on this team. I don't want to blame refs for absolutely anything. I don't really know what was called there. I thought it was a bit strange. They showed me a replay. Didn't really look any different than any other field goal attempt in the history of the NFL. So I don't want to go there, but the point is you got the pick six, you got that penalty that gives them a first down, and they get a touchdown. That was a 7-point swing, not even a 4-point swing because they missed the field goal. So you got 14 points on a pick six and a damn a penalty that was a very peculiar one that gives them another fresh set of downs in your territory. They go on to score. That's 14 points right there. You lost this game by 16, and you had opportunities to get back in it, even when you were down like 13 points near the end of it. So you wonder if even one of those things don't happen. I guess you're left to wonder for a third week in a row what could have been.
That's a good silver lining. Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I think Jeffrey Simmons did kind of maybe have his hand in the guy's like neck pad area. Look, I don't know if that's a hold or whatever, but you also are a team captain in a huge moment. You can't make that mistake if you're Jeffrey Simmons. I don't know. Maybe it wasn't a hold. I don't know. I'm out. I'm just so out on everything. I don't even have a silver lining, dude.
Yeah, no, you shouldn't. I mean, they're really, again, I keep saying the damn same thing. I'm sorry, but yeah, they're a terrible football team. I've lost all hope that this can be a good football team this year. Like, I thought there was a chance they'd win this game. You know, you got Skylar Thompson. I'll be predicting a Dolphins win. I don't give a shit if Skylar Thompson's the quarterback. Like, Malik Willis was the quarterback this week. Dolphins are probably a better team than the Packers. Like, there's no reason to think they're going to go out and win in Miami next Monday, no matter who the quarterback is for the Dolphins, right? Like, it's it's a terrible football team, one of the worst in the NFL. I've got no reason to believe it's going to get back. Like I said, maybe Mason Rudolph comes in. They can cut out some of the boneheaded turnovers. Maybe they get to average. But there's really no and that, again, that shouldn't excite you. So not a whole lot of reason to think this is a good football team. If your season's not done at 0-2, we saw a lot of people saying, Will Compton jumped on Twitter. Give him time. It's not a bad football team. He was very wrong. It's a very bad football team, and it probably is over at 0-3.
Yeah, I think is like your playoff hopes. I mean, it's extreme long shot. It's not over mathematically, but it's an extreme long shot at this point. Yeah, we're officially on Rudolph watch, and we will remain on Rudolph watch until he gets inserted into the starting lineup, which I predict will happen in the next 2 or 3 weeks. Like, that's where I'm at. All right, that'll do it. Thanks to everyone for tuning in. If you're still with us, we appreciate you. Hopefully we're all just having a pity party together and we can all, lift each other up. Drop a comment below. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Give this video a thumbs up, like, turn on alerts to get a new notification every time we drop a new video. Thanks again to Sinkers Beverages. We'll be back next week to preview the Titans-Dolphins with a great guest again coming on. So we're going to keep doing the podcast, even though the team sucks. All right, Justin. Any last words?
No, you're absolutely right about that. We're going to keep doing it, even though they suck. Y'all stay safe out there and tighten up.
A Broadway sports media production.